Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to my live stream. It's Sunday, Funday, so we're going to be talking about some new fragrances. I hope that you guys can get this, join in, and we'll have a conversation about some new releases that are coming out, and hopefully it'll be fun. Let me get it all set up here, and we will start talking. Let me know what your scent of the day is, obviously in the chat, just like we always do. Today, I wore quite a different few fragrances. I wore one of the ones I'm going to be talking about today, which is Evening Mystique by TLTG or Ross Carlos. I also wore Prada Black at one point in time, and I tested out a bunch of different fragrances, but I'll be talking about those in my live. I picked up a new fragrance 2 days ago, Acqua di Gio Profumo. Finally completing my Acqua di Gio line. The only one that I don't have, I do have like 20 milliliters of it, is Acqua di Gio Eau de Parfum. And it's actually a huge change for me, as you guys know, because I would say 6 months ago, the only Acqua di Gio that I had was Acqua di Gio, the original. And I kind of grew up with Acqua di Gio, and it was one of those, you wear it so much that it becomes redundant for you. But then I finally started getting back into them. Now I own Profondo, Profondo Lights, Acqua di Gio Absolute, Absolute Instinct, now Profumo. I own, yeah, that's pretty much all of them, right? Yeah, the only one I don't have is Acqua di Gio Eau de Parfum, but I have 20 milliliters of it. It just smells like gym socks to me. But thank you guys so much for joining. I'm going to get it pulled up just so I can see your comments, because I don't like looking at the comments on the screen. They're always way too fast for me. I like to be able to scroll through so I can see them. What's up, Detroit sports fan? Said looking forward to it as always. We have Anthony. What's going on? Armani Code Sport Athlete. That's one line that I don't have a lot of the older flankers for, the like Armani Code Sport Athlete. I don't have any of the older ones. I'm very interested to know if they smell like the other Armani codes, or if they're like complete differences, because I have Armani Code Profumo, Absolute, Original, Eau de Parfum, and Colonia, but the rest of them I don't have anything to do with it. But with that said, Essenza and Blue are the only two discontinued ADG flankers. Yeah, our Acqua di Gio Absolute Instinct. I don't see that anywhere anymore too, right, Eddie? What's up, Jim? What's up, Hanson? How you doing? What's up, Newt? Oh, speaking of Newt, so I will look at it right now. He just sent me an Instagram message about Costco selling Tom Ford fragrances. So there is a sale going on, just in case any of you guys are interested in the Tom Ford private blend on Costco's website. They have, you have to be a member, but you can get Costco membership, like 7-day free membership, if you go on their website and sign up for it. But anyway, it's $149.99 for Oud Wood 1.7 ounce. It is $194 for Soleil Blanc Eau de Parfum 1.7 ounce, and it's $129 for the 1.7 ounce White Suede Eau de Parfum. I can help you with the Oud Wood and the Soleil Blanc. If you have any questions about it, ask me in the chat, but the other one, I don't know what it smells like. But yeah, welcome to the live stream, everybody. We're going to be talking about, as you guys know, last week I talked about the Zed Creators fragrances. I previewed them, and one of my subscribers, who is right there, Eddie S, say thank you to him, because he bought Ross's Evening Mystique, and he bought Justin's Second Soul, and with each one you get a decant of the other two. So he gave me all 3 decants to try out of Second Soul, of the Immortals, and Evening Mystique. The only one that I've personally wore on my skin was, again today, Evening Mystique. So I can tell you the full amount of that. The other 2 I'm going to start talking about first, so I can let them dry down, and then tell you guys in about a half hour what I get from the dry down. But anyway, yeah. So Newt, Hanson, Jim, Anthony, Eddie, Detroit sports fan, good evening to everybody. Hope that your weekends went well. And then we got welcome to Mo's. What's up, Mo? And Hamzat. So let's see what you guys are writing now. Senza, oh, I was shocked to see Creed and Tom Ford being sold at Dillard's yesterday. Yeah, it seems like a lot of weird things are being sold. So I sent Hamzat and Mo a picture of what my Marshalls looked like yesterday. So last week, there was maybe 9 fragrances at my Marshalls. This week, there's literally 300. I had to send them 4 different pictures so they could see exactly what was at my Marshalls. There was Terre d'Hermes. There was H24. There was Juliet Has a Gun, not a perfume or not a parfum or whatever it's called. There was Spice Bomb and Spice Bomb Infrared. There was Boss Bottled Intense Eau de Toilette, Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum. There was Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. I mean, those aren't really that crazy to be there. There was a Replica Lemon Trees or whatever the hell it's called. There was so many freaking fragrances at my Marshalls. Go check yours. I'm telling you, that and probably TJ Maxx. They got everything in right now, and it's all for like not a perfume was like $40-something, which is crazy. So you should definitely check that out. I don't know what the heck is going on. I've never seen my Marshalls like that, and I didn't buy anything because I told my wife that I wouldn't buy anything until after Christmas unless it was a new release. Expensive but really badass. Yep. Good evening, Clinton. Scent of the day, Tommy Lomi Monkey Special, Zerjoff Wild. Oh, I thought you were. Yeah. I've never heard of Tony Lomi. I have never heard of that before. Is it good? That's very interesting. Anyway, so let's just get straight into it so I can get these dry down because my lives aren't super long. If you guys want to know, so again, I picked up Acqua di Gio Profumo. It is my favorite from the line outside of Absolute. My wife is obsessed with it, and so I had a gift card and a huge coupon, brought it down to like $80, so I decided to pick that up. Fragrance Fight Night, welcome to the Sunday Funday chat. Yeah, I just got Tony Lomi. Tony, is it Iomi or is it Lomi? Yeah, I'll come over to your house. He lives down the street from me. So again, the ones that we're going to be, those are the MANCERA. So I'll talk about those after. So we have the way that Eddie sent them to me, again, just so you know that they are the real thing. There we go. They are the decants. We have Evening Mystique, Second Soul, and Of the Immortals. But they're those dipstick atomizers that I don't like, so I put them into my own atomizers. We have the one, I can tell by the color. That's why I didn't label them. We have this one, which is Of the Immortals by Andrea. We have Ross's Evening Mystique. And then we have this one, which is Second Soul by Justin. Again, I'm going to spray them for the first time ever on my skin outside of Evening Mystique, so I can tell you what I get from them. The first one I'm going to spray on my skin. Again, I'm doing the Second Soul and Of the Immortals first. They are the Zed Creators 2.0 fragrances. If you don't know, they released the version 1 with Andrea, Justin, and Ross. They were, I believe, called Brass Soul was Justin's, so Second Soul makes sense. Then we had Andrea's, which was Siren. And then Ross's was Business Over Pleasure. So the only one that I tried from those was sent to me by a subscriber, because back then I didn't even know any of those creators. I wasn't even in the fragrance community at that point in time. But with that said, I did try Justin's, the Brass Soul, so I can tell you if they smell the same. So anyway, I'm going to spray on Andrea's, 2 sprays on that hand, and tell you what I get from it. Last week, I did go over some of the notes. I remember there being a booze. I think it was whiskey. And then there was also coconut, fig, sandalwood, maybe, musk. I don't remember. So right in the opening, you definitely get coconut. So if you love coconut or you don't like coconut, I don't think it actually matters, because like if you don't like something like Le Beau, this doesn't have the coconut vibe from that. It's more of a niche type coconut. It's really actually quite nice, but it is centerfold right here in the opening. Along with this boozy quality, it doesn't necessarily come off like a whiskey or anything like that. It just comes off as like a boozy nature in the background. It's quite gourmand. I remember there being honey, and there's definitely like a raw honey in this that definitely sweetens it up, even adds to that gourmand facet. And there's even a little bit of like a bright fizziness to it. coming from either like a cashmere or a cashmere wood. It's actually quite nice on the skin. When I sprayed it on a tester, it was a little bit more unisex than I would have liked. On the skin, it definitely still is unisex, but it's more right in the middle, men's, women's. It's actually quite nice. It's a lot better on the skin, to be honest with you. My wife will really like this. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be something for me to pick up personally. It leans more in the almost the fruity gourmand type fragrance, compare like a fruity boozy is what it really comes off to me with that coconut and stuff like that. But it instead of like the real deep resinous, like Most Wanted Parfum or something like that, that has that real resinous, slightly gourmand quality. This one, it's really nice, but it almost is like a fresh yet warm gourmand. There's a little bit of a floral backbone to this, but really what you can focus on in the opening is this coconut, a little bit of a boozy quality, slight floral background, and a lot of musks with that raw honey. All right, I'm going to let that dry down. That's actually quite nice on the skin. I'm surprised. I was telling Hamzat and Mo when I first sprayed that on to a tester that I wasn't sure about it. But now let me spray on the other one. I put Ross's all over myself today. So whenever I was trying to get it from the dipstick atomizer, I put it on my wrist, and then it kind of leaked all the way down my arm, so I have it all over me, and then I washed my hands. So just an FYI. Okay, so this is Second Soul. Let me check out the comments first, see if anybody else joins, see what's going on with you guys. The guitarist from Black Sabbath is Tony Iommi. Oh, I actually know Black Sabbath. My brother was a huge fan of them. I grew up in that age too, so I'm surprised I didn't know that. I picked up 100 milliliter cream virgin island water and Aventus cologne yesterday on Venba. Cheaper than a one bottle retail. Couldn't beat that. Detroit sports fan, did you use my what's it called? My link? I get paid a commission now from Venba for any sale. So it's always, if you guys ever want to know, there's always a link in my description. I don't really like to push things on people, but just in case you ever want to help out the channel, you can click on my Venba link and it will give me like a 4% commission, which is like $4, but still. Omi. So I have 10 fragrances, seems to cover all the seasons. Really, that's all you really need, Jim. You don't need more than 10 fragrances if you're not a huge collector like I am. I know a lot of the people in the chat are like me. They have huge collections, which I featured on my channel. But, I mean, having 10 is not that bad at all. I try not to go above because I don't want to go, I don't want any to go bad. You don't really have to worry about them going bad, Jim, unless you have a lot like this. For instance, let me get my finger in the right direction. That one right there is 11 years old, and it smells and lasts just like my decant that I got of one from 2 years ago. With that said, I also have an Aqua de Jo from 2009. As long as you keep them out of the heat, out of the sunlight, and in a room temperature. Some people like to keep them in refrigerators and stuff like that. But with that said, you don't really need to worry about longevity of a fragrance. I'm talking about like how long it lasts, like the expiration date or anything, because they can last 10 years plus. And even once they don't actually go bad, what happens is the performance of them just starts to become less and less and less. Unless it's one of those real niche fragrances that has, which I don't think that you probably have, then that's when the ingredients can start to actually go bad. But with that said, if you're talking about designers, 10 years, totally fine. But anyway, let's see what I'm just going to finish getting through the comments and then I'll get on to Justin's. I can smell it. So just an FYI, it's not that I can't smell it and it's drying down. I'll push for you, Randy. Use Randy's link. You bums. Thank you, Alan. Good evening, Anuj. I'm on the fence with the Immortals. Time's running out, though. It's really expensive. Yeah, just an FYI, if you guys are interested in any of these fragrances, the time is running out on them. They are 4.2 ounce, and I believe they're $160 on the website right now, but they only made one batch of each. They pre-ordered them, and then they're selling through, and once they sell through them, they're done. So yeah, I'm going to get what's popping Fight Night. What's good, Mo? Hey, dude, I'm getting Harad from Venba whenever you're ready. Newt, just click on the link that's right there that Hamzat put in there, and then you can just buy it from Venba. That's pretty much all you need to do, and I automatically get the 4%. And if you guys click on the link and you're planning on buying it, just make sure, because the link stays active even if you go out of it. If you click on the link, it stays active for a week. So as long as you go on Venba within that week, like if you go to Chaos Fragrances and you click on one of his links just to see what it's about, and then a week later you decide to go on and buy it on that same website, he'll still get credit for it. Just an FYI, that's how it works. What's up, Brian? How are you? I saw that you got these. One of my subscribers sent me your video, but I said, I'm not watching it until I smell them myself. But I'm going to go watch your video after. And everybody definitely go check out My Two Cents. Brian is a really good reviewer. He knows his crap. He went to Scent Explorer, hung out with a lot of these people. I think he was talking about how he hung out with Andrea at one point in time. I follow you on Instagram. Okay, so now we're talking. What's up, RXL? So now so we got through Andrea's. We're letting hers dry down right now. Again, I wore Ross's the center of the day. I'll tell you about that last. I just want these to dry down by the time my stream ends. So now we have Ross's. Or not Ross. I said Ross. Now we have Justin's, which is Second Soul. Again, he did his originally was the only one that I've tried before, which was Brass Soul. And I smelled this on the tester, and immediately when I smelled it, I said, yeah, that's good. But compared to the original, it is the closest to what he already put out. It does have some changes in here that I will tell you about, but as soon as you spray it on, there's definitely that boozy facet from that Rum on the Rocks, which is what I believe he called it in his note breakdown that I read last week. But yeah, it's the closest to the original. Right now, I do have to say, just based on what I know about Ross's and the other two, my favorite is Ross's. Going then next with Andrea's, and then third is going to be Second Soul, just because it's not up my alley. See what you guys are saying. Okay. So it has this freshness to it, almost like a citrus aspect, but it doesn't come off like fully citric. So there's that's boozy quality, yes. Then you get like almost like a bergamot mixed with some kind of other sweetness, maybe like a myrrh, I believe that there was in here. Yeah, it's very similar to his original. I'm super surprised. And I didn't really love the original myself. There's a little bit of a woodiness to it. And there's also a patchouli aspect that's coming up as it's drying down here. But I've also been talking to you guys for probably about 5 minutes before I even smelled it. But it's nice. I can say that just based on what I know about Ross's as I've worn it all day long, and the other two, Justin's and Andrea's, they are all definitely good fragrances. Just Andrea's, it has a gourmand facet to it that, again, I don't know if it's really up my alley as far as a full bottle purchase, but I know, with that said, the coconut in it's very nice. The musks, it looks like a lot of them are using, all three of them have musks definitely going through it. Ross's has the heaviest musks and a darker musk with it. Hers has more of a lighter white musk, and it's a little bit dialed back in Second Soul. It's not really a noticeable, like you wouldn't say there's a super amount of musk in Justin's. The other two you can definitely notice. With that said, now I'm going to tell you about Ross's. So I'm not even going to try with the notes on Ross's, because I can tell you about, if there was 10 notes, I wouldn't know 9 of them. I don't know what they smell like. I'm just going to tell you what I get from it. So when you first spray it on, it is completely different than any fragrance that I've smelled out of all three of these. There is a smokiness. It's deep. It's dark. It's super resinous. It's super smoky. And then there's a muskiness. Again, it's like a darker musk underneath this entire fragrance. It is not my personal style of fragrance that I just say, hey, I'm going to reach for that. But with that said, it is really good. If you like that darker type fragrance, it is like what's the name of this again? Sorry, Evening Mystique. I'm trying to remember all three of these. So Evening Mystique, it's definitely an evening out fragrance. It's a darker fragrance. It's a deeper fragrance. All three of these seem like they lean like between the fresh and the warm, except for Ross's. Seems like it's going to be more of that fall and winter type fragrance, in my opinion. I could actually, where I live, I would wear it in the spring as well. While Andrea's and Justin's, I feel like it could be worn in pretty much any season while leaning fall and winter. That's just my opinion, though. But again, when it dries down, there's an olibanum resin that really does pick up, and it really comes in there, along with, there's a little bit of an iris, but it's a lot. I've heard some people talking about how this is an iris heavy fragrance. It's not an iris heavy fragrance. There's iris and rose that really, and as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of florals. The iris just floats underneath this entire fragrance, as does a little bit of this rose essence. And it's not huge. It's not like right up in your face or anything. It just is a nice supporting layer of florals underneath the rest of that smokiness, that resinous quality. It's actually quite a nice fragrance. The way that he built the fragrance, I think, is the most unique of the three for sure. And I absolutely am surprised that Ross made this type of fragrance, knowing that what I know about him. I just did not. I expected something more along the lines of like a gourmand or like an amber heavy fragrance. While this is still resinous, I did not expect a smoky, dark, resinous fragrance from Ross. But hey, it's a nice change in pace, and it's showing that he has this range to him. I'm not even looking at the camera. I'm looking at the other side. Sorry, guys. But anyway, he has a range to him that he's being a creative collaborator on these fragrances, and I feel like he did the best job of the three in this case. Again, I didn't try the first one that he came out with, versus our business over pleasure. Sorry, I had to look down at my phone. But with that said, really good job, everybody. I'm going to wait till these dry down, read your comments. We'll get into some other fragrances and then work our way back to them, talk about them. But right now, again, if I had to rank them, because I haven't even got a for wearing on the other two, I would put Ross's at number 1. I would put Andrea's at number 2. And Second Soul, while all three of them do what they're doing really well, Second Soul just to me is not up my alley, but it's still a good fragrance. If you like that, just let me just get to the dry down and see if it still feels the same way. So anyway, I keep mine in the basement bathroom. Okay, good. I was going to say don't shower in the bathroom. Thanks, Newt. Somebody needs to tell Venba his Cyber Monday 15 promo code is still active for 15% off. Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm not going to tell him that, because if I tell him that, then you guys won't get the 15% off. You know what's funny is that I only got the Venba link because Jeff from SoCal Sense, he sent me this list, which I sent to you guys, of this kind of like Facebook group that Venba was doing, that they were selling their fragrances at wholesale. And I just contacted the guy and said, hey, some of my subscribers want to buy this. What payments are you taking? And he said, oh, your name's Fragrance Dude? And I said, yeah. He goes, you want to be a part of our affiliate links? I said, as long as I don't have to like fully sell, I'll put the link in my description. He's like, yeah, I'm cool with it. So if you guys ever want to get some money towards me to put back towards the channel to buy more fragrances, feel free to use the link. But anyway, how was everybody's weekend? Remind me what your scent of the day was. I know I had 3 or 4 people in here when I first asked. But again, today I'm wearing Ross's Evening Mystique. Smoky, resinous, musky, dark, really a nighttime fragrance through and through. I quite enjoy it for the type of fragrance that it is. And I know if you like those smokier incense, resinous type fragrances that have like a little bit of a florally undertone, some woods in the dry down, I think that you would definitely love the fragrance. I know Eddie sent these to me, and I believe he said his favorite was either Ross's or Second Soul, but I know that they were both up there. Eddie, put it in the chat. I can't remember which one you told me. Evening Mystique gives me vibes of see, I don't like Encre Noir at all. So Evening Mystique to me does not give me that. Second Soul bottle is effing dope. Yeah, if you guys want to watch my live last time, I showed you all the different bottles. You have the Second Soul bottle, which is really reflective. You have Ross's, which I think is the coolest. It has like a nice design on it for Evening Mystique, and then it has Evening Mystique written right across it. Then you have Andrea's, which is an infinity sign, and that has a snake eating its tail. At least it's what it looks like to me. And again, it's also reflective, but both of them, or all three of them, are quite interesting. But to me, Ross's is my favorite presentation. 30 watching, 10 likes. Hit the like button. Yeah. That muskiness, it's a signature of ZAHAROFF in general, I think. Yeah, that's true. While I don't get that much muskiness in ZAHAROFF signature TABAC, which I talked about last week. The dry down for signature TABAC is super good. Oh, and Ross's fragrance, when you get to the dry down, I don't know if I said this, there's a woody quality, but it's more of like there's like a myrrh and a woods that come in that, again, still maintain that darkness, but also bring in a little bit of a sweetness to it, which is quite nice as well. Hey, Randy, if you had the chance to do something like this, what notes do you think you would use, and what style of fragrance would you chase after? You know, that's actually quite interesting you asked that, Eddie, and I'll get to the rest of the people's questions above. So I talked about this with a few of my subscribers before. What I would like to lean in my favorite types of fragrances. Let's talk about my favorite fragrance notes first. My favorite fragrance note is probably going to be plum. I like plum, whether it's used in fresh fragrances as like a watery plum, or if it's used in more warmer fragrances like 1 Million Lucky or something like that, where it's more of that warmer, deeper plum. I love plum as a note, so I definitely would want to introduce that to my fragrance. I would also have tobacco, but it wouldn't be the dry pipe tobacco or anything like that. It would be more of like the moist tobacco that you get inside. I hate the word moist, but in Parfums de Marly Herod, something like that. I would also use the note of cinnamon. I love cinnamon in fragrances. Wanted by Night just is the first one that comes to mind when I think of cinnamon fragrances. I would definitely use that. I would use the note of amberwood. I really like amberwood in fragrances, so I know that those notes would definitely be in my fragrance. So there would also be some honey. So honey, plum, amberwood, cinnamon, I would use those. It would be more of a fall and winter fragrance while still having this I wouldn't make it a full gourmand. I would make it something, and I told Mo and Hamzat this the other day, if I could make an ideal fragrance, it would be like a niche quality version if you mixed Wanted by Night with Most Wanted. So you get that cinnamon, you get that woodiness, you get that tobacco, you stuff like that. Then you also do get that little bit of a gourmand facet to it. And then you also get those fruity notes from that plum. So that would be the type of fragrance that I personally would make. Fall and winter, spicy, fruity, gourmand, like slightly gourmand. That's what I would be wearing. There could be some changes in there. Like I like, especially lately, I like cherry fragrances. I've liked the note of oud lately, but only used in fragrances like Cherry Smoke, where it's more of a woody, dark woods instead of that full oud where it gives off that fecal or animalic quality. With that, speaking of oud, I think there was oud in Andrea's fragrance, and I can tell you there is a little bit of woods in her dry down that I can smell, but it doesn't come off fully as oud. I was just smelling it, and I can tell you there's not. Because I know a lot of people are put off by the note of oud, so I wanted to mention that. Ross fragrance smells nothing like it, but I get the same feeling when I wear Dior Homme Parfum. Something about that rose. See, rose is actually one of my least favorite fragrance notes, not only because my wife is slightly allergic to rose, but also because of the fact that I don't really love florals, and rose is my least favorite floral of any fragrance. But the way that Ross put it in his, it's just well blended, and the rose doesn't come off the way that I don't like it. So I enjoy how he was able to get that blended in there nicely where it doesn't come off the way that I don't like the floral note of rose, while still remaining to have that floral undertone. It's not too floral, if that makes sense. I would have thought Ross would go in the blue aquatic direction with his new fragrance. I'm actually kind of glad he didn't, especially at the time of the release, because you got to think he's releasing it in November, which 75 or 85% of the country right now is living in 60 degrees or less. And so for the people who are buying this, for the most part, they're looking for more fall, winter, spring fragrances or versatile fragrances. So I don't see him doing an aquatic at this point in time. Again, I was expecting something not like this, but hey, it shows his range. So I'm happy he did it. I just told Mo and Hamzat, I'm picking up Ross's in the next week or so. Based off the fact that I'm showing the support for a buddy, obviously. But with that said, I also am in this type of fragrance realm that I usually don't like those type of smoky, deeper, darker fragrances. I still would wear this and enjoy it in certain situations. And I know that a lot of you that I've talked to would really enjoy his fragrance. Wearing gentlemen only today. Weekend went by too fast. It really did go by too fast. And tomorrow I have way too much stuff to do. You like Second Soul the best, and the presentation is kick-ass. Yeah. Despite my personal taste to Evening Mystique, I am at least glad that I can support Ross. Yeah, exactly. Moist. Yeah. The live stream makes me. I live down the street, Alan. No, cool, dude. Hope you get to do that. Maybe at some point. Mine wouldn't be too much of a niche. Like it would be more introductory niche is the type of fragrance that I would make. It wouldn't be something like so niche that a lot of people who are more the designer type people that you like the more mass appealing fragrances. That would be the type of realm that I would be in, leaning with like the Laytons and the Harads and the Tobacco Vanilles, where the fragrance is mass appealing but still maintaining that niche quality. That is what I would like to do. And I know when you do collaborations, I would have to find the right collaboration where the collaboration is, and I know I'm still small, so this is a long ways away. And I'd be happy to do anything with pretty much anyone as long as they let me have the creative control that I can pick and choose the type of fragrance down to a T. I understand that certain brands have a certain DNA they have to maintain, like ZAHAROFF. But with that said, I would be happy to make it with pretty much anyone as long as you guys approved with it. Hi, Randy. Which do you prefer, Bulgari Man in Black or the original VR Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb? I would probably say Bulgari Man in Black in that situation. The original Spice Bomb to me is good, yes, but I feel it's a bit redundant now with the other flankers in the line. And Bulgari Man in Black, you have a better performance with that. It has a little bit more of a unique quality as well. I just enjoy it more. I actually hated it when I first sprayed it on a tester, but it's much different on the skin. I really do like Bulgari Man in Black, but it's not. It's a close call with those two because they are very similar. But I'd have to give the edge to Bulgari Man in Black for sure. All right. So as Andrea's drives down, it still maintains that really sweet quality. That's gourmand facet. Again, it leans more in that coconut is still a main player in here. But as it works its way into the dry down, those musks are definitely still prominent. There's still a little bit of a woods that comes in to kind of even out that sweetness. You get a little bit of like a patchouli vibe here as well. But mostly you just get a little bit of musk woods along with that raw honey, some sweetness. Definitely nice. If this is the type of fragrance, it reminds me. So take this with a grain of salt. it reminds me of something like Tiger, which I haven't smelled. I actually smelled the clone of it, Tarathi Blue. It has a little bit of a facet to that here in the dry down. So again, take that with a grain of salt. It reminds me in the dry down of that. In the opening, it didn't remind me of it all. There's still a little bit of a boozy facet to this, and a little bit of like a woods, but that musk is definitely there. It's sweet. I like the dry down a lot better than the opening. While I still like that opening with that booziness, that coconut, the honey, the dry down, it just evens out a lot more, and that sweetness tones down. So I actually quite like it. Yeah, that's still number 2 for me. Justin's sweetened up a bit. There's definitely some woods in here, and it's getting heavier, much heavier on the patchouli. All 3 of them are really good, though. I mean, it's just, I know that I'm definitely picking up a bottle of Ross's. Between these 2, I think I personally would pick up the bottle of Andrea's. Justin's is just not doing it for me. There's something about it. I still love it. I can still say that it's still a like for me. And it's something that I think that you would definitely get compliments on. There's almost like a tobacco or something in this. I need to look up the notes. It smells like there's like a little bit of a tobacco. No, I'm not even looking up the notes. I'm not worried about it right now. Yeah, like a woodiness, patchouli, slightly sweetened up a bit. A little bit of that booziness, but the booziness from the opening is almost smelled like a shot. But now when you get to the dry down, it's a sweet booze, and it's just undertoning the fragrance. I can't decide if I love or like this fragrance. I'm going to have to get some full wears on it. I'm going to do a full review of all 3 of these on a video. Because when my olfactory senses are being really indulged right now, but overpowered, because these are 3 fragrances that are heavy on the niche quality, which is great. But Ross's is literally in my face right now, and it's a good thing. It's really good. I really like his fragrance, but right now it's my olfactory senses are being overpowered, and I can't tell. I know I like Andrea's. I know that's a like. It's not a love for me, but it's still a like, and I know that my wife will love it. It's because of that unisex factor. Ross's doesn't lean unisex for me. It seems like Andrea's is the most unisex. Then you have Justin's, which is unisex leaning masculine. And then you have Ross's, which is just masculine. I actually quite like Second Soul. The opening left a little bit to be desired for me, but now that it's drying down, it has this, I can't, geez, I like this. I honestly don't know. All 3 of these are good. All right, well, let me debate. I need to debate this for a second. Really good job, guys, by the way. Ross, Justin, Andrea. All you guys need to go follow them. TLTG, Curly Sense, and Stay Fresh Productions. They did a good job, as did you, George Zaharoff. Thank you so much for providing the ability for these people to make these fragrances. Monkey Specialist. Why are everybody's talking about this monkey special? I think I need to try the monkey special. By the way, I have a cherry fragrance that Hamzat is sending on the way to me. It is MANCERA's something cherry. I don't know what it is right now, but it's a cherry fragrance by MANCERA. Put the 2 and 2 together, you guys will realize what it is. That'll be here soon. Then we have these 3 fragrances. While I'm letting these dry down even further, we have MANCERA's Amber Fever. We have Tom Ford's Ebony Fume. And we have MANCERA's Choco Violeta. And I'll tell you about those in a second. Would you all say they're all three are about the same age ranges, or any go more youthful or mature? So I can tell you that Andrea's is a little bit more youthful than the other two, and then the other two are mature. Yeah, I would say probably the most mature of the three is probably Ross's, but Second Soul is right there. I would say Andrea's is a lot more youthful, but still maintaining. I wouldn't go too youthful. Like I would say college age or above. Then with Justin's, I would say probably 25 and up. Same with Ross's, somewhere around there. What's up, Joe? How you doing? Everybody, on average, Joe, definitely go check him out as well. Mancera's Wild Cherry, yeah. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. I thought that was wrong, so I didn't say it. As far as the performance, again, I just sprayed these two on, but with Ross's, I sprayed mine on whenever I gave you guys my scent of the day. So what was that, 1 o'clock? And it's 7:49 right now, and I can still smell it in my face. So I would say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have at least 7 hours of it performing well above average. So let's just say it seems like these two are performing super good as well. So as far as the projection performance, I wouldn't worry about it. They're good. They're good. Ross's definitely seems like it performs the best. But if I can remember correctly, his was also the higher. So Andrea's was an eau de parfum. And then Ross and Justin both had the 25 to 27%. And so I think that that's why theirs projects a little bit more than hers, but hers still does pretty well. So yeah, if you wanted to ask Mo about the youthful versus mature, I would say that they're all leaning mature, but Andrea's goes a little bit more youthful than the other two. Scent of the live stream, I got an Evening Mystique on the right hand, and Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir Eau de Parfum on the left hand. Nice. I have the parfum over there that somebody just sent me as well. You guys sent me a lot of fragrances. I have a lot of stuff to get through. So anyway, Tom Ford's Ebony Fume. Before we get back to these Zed Creator fragrances, which I wanted to get rid of these tester strips for a long time, so I'm not spraying Ebony Fume on my skin. I got these from Mugler. They sent me these alien men things. So Ebony Fume from Tom Ford. I got this sent to me by one of my subscribers who had a bottle and are a decant and didn't like the fragrance, so wanted me to try it. I believe it was Newt. So when I first sprayed this on in the Nordstrom's, I thought that I loved it, but now that I have it, it's just okay. It's it's a smoky, resinous, slightly floral, woody fragrance. There's definitely incense in here. There's definitely amber in there. So I mean, it's Ebony Fume. It's like an amber-based fragrance. There's definitely the smokiness is right in line with something like Ross's, where they're both very smoky. The smoke comes off a bit different in Ross's, though. I actually like the smoke in Ross's better than I like in Ebony Fume. Ebony Fume is also a very woody, so it's woody, it's smoky. I think there's rose in here as well. It's good. It's just not great. I would choose something like Ross's, which actually it's pretty funny. They're actually slightly similar. This is just a little bit more woody. Yeah, they're not close. It's just that smokiness and that resinous quality that gives them a little bit of a similarity, but after that, not really. If anybody wants to join the chat now, or just let me know, I'll send you the link. I would be happy to bring anybody on now that I've pretty much finished wrapping up the fragrances that I was reviewing. But Ebony Fume is okay. It's like dusty. So there's like a dustiness to it. But at the same time, it has this like rose undertone It has some florals, again, with that rose. I'm not exactly sure what they are. I didn't look up the nose. I really don't care to. Then there's that amber. It's resinous. There's a little bit of a freshness to it, but not really. It's more of a fall and winter, resinous, smoky, slightly floral fragrance with woods pretty much wrapping around the entire fragrance. If that's the best way to describe Ebony Fume. There's some powderiness to it, like maybe Tonka or something, that's providing a powderiness to the fragrance, but not heavy. It's good. It's just not great. If anybody was ever wondering about Ebony Fume, it's mediocre. Just like pretty much every Tom Ford fragrance out there, except for like 4. Prada L'Homme Intense versus Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum versus Mercedes-Benz Select Night. Your favorite and least favorite. Haven't tried Select Night. Car fragrances aren't one thing that I have a lot of. I have a few Mercedes-Benz. I have a few of this and that, but I haven't tried Select Night. As far as Prada L'Homme Intense versus Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum, you can't really compare the two. Because one is like a cherry fragrance that's powdery, and the other one is an iris fragrance that they're just not. If I had to pick one, Prada L'Homme Intense is miles, and I mean miles above L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum. L'Homme Ideal Eau de Parfum is like a powdery unisex, dark cherry, slightly nutty, super powdery fragrance. Literally, if you took the original L'Homme, you made it more unisex, and you added in this really dark cherry accord. That's pretty much what it smells like. But the the Prada L'Homme Intense, which is right there, if you can see it, is much, 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 much better. And I can tell you, I don't even have to smell Select Night. I can tell you Prada L'Homme Intense would be my favorite of the 3. No matter what it smells like, Prada L'Homme Intense is that good. I have to... So now that Ross is here, I'll just do a little bit of a recap of what I talked about Ross, and I'm not going to fudge anything based on what I already said. I was just getting back to them while they dried down, which I already talked about as well. I talked about Andrea's first. I said Andrea's, yeah, all 3 of them are really, really good. As far as my ranking of them, I would have to say now that I'm smelling them all together, and this one's dried down, in the opening, it went ranked Ross's, Andrea's, Justin's. Now that they've dried down, it's Ross's, Justin's, Andrea's. Justin's is definitely climbing up. The opening left a lot to be desired for me, but with the dry down, it's a lot better. As far as yours, Ross, I said it's not my personal type of fragrance because I don't like super heavy smoke fragrances that have those resins and stuff. With that said, I wore it all day today, and for that type of fragrance, it's one I have to pick up. It's a Evening Mystique is literally the perfect name you could have came up for that fragrance because it is absolutely fantastic with what it's doing. And a lot of people I heard were saying that it's an iris heavy fragrance. It's not. There's iris and rose that are playing these nice florally undertones, but they're not too florally. Like, I don't like heavy florals, and they're just it's a very nicely blended fragrance. Of all 3 of them, Evening Mystique is by far the most unique of the 3. I'm super surprised that that's the type of fragrance that you chose to make, just based on what I know about you. And I said that really does provide to the aspect that you have range. And so that range that you put into the fragrance between Business Over Pleasure and this one, Evening Mystique, is just crazy. And then you have Justin's, which is the only of the first 3, because whenever you guys released the Zed Creators 1.0, I wasn't part of the fragrance community. I didn't even know they existed. One of my subscribers sent me Brassel, and his is the closest to the original than anyone's. Andrea's is good, but a little bit leaning unisex to me. Like, hers is the most unisex. Then comes, and a little bit more youthful. Then comes Justin's, which the dry down's really good. It has that patchouli pulling up. There's that cedar in there. It's really nice. And then as yours dried down, Ross, I told them that a lot of the notes that you had in your note breakdown, I don't even know what they smell like. So I was just giving them what I got from it. As it dried down to me, there's a woodiness that comes in to provide this nice, almost sweetness with the myrrh. It almost comes off like a sweet woods to add to this like perfect blend with that smoky and olibanum resin, that resinous dry down. I think that it actually is my style of fragrance in the dry down more than the opening, but altogether the fragrance is fantastic. And I think that you did an amazing job on it. And that's just my opinion. With that said, I'm definitely picking up a bottle again at the end of the week. I guess you missed that part too. The other two, I was debating on picking up this one for my wife, Andrea's, because to me it leans more for women, even though it's the most unisex of the three. Justin's, I think now that I'm into the dry down, it's more of my style of fragrance. Yours I've been wearing all day. I'm at about 7.5 hours and it's still pushing heavily in my face. So I love it. Yeah, sure. Here, Ross, I'll IG message you. Give me a second. 1 second, guys. TLTG. Let me copy, paste, send. There you go. All right, Ross, I sent it to you. But anyway, so that is my full reviews of the Zed Creators fragrances. It is the feminine one of the group as far as Andrea's is concerned. I do usually like unisex fragrances. To me, hers is unisex leaning feminine. Justin's is unisex leaning masculine, and then yours is masculine. That's what I got. Yours, again, I wore all day. Theirs, this is the first time spraying on my skin. I enjoy all three. I just think I won't pick up a bottle of Andrea's because it's just not my style. If I did, it would be for my wife. Justin's, I wasn't going to pick up a bottle, but now that I'm into that dry down, it's definitely a pickup for me. So I think I'm picking up 2 of them next week. So you can definitely thank Eddie for sending them to me. And before this live, I didn't know if I was going to pick up any of them other than yours just to support. But now that I have, I'm really interested. Most interesting of the 3 is the exact way to put it. Yes, that's exactly correct. But anyway, Andrea is new DNA. Mine and Justin's are flankers. See, I'll talk to you when you get on about what I think about yours versus theirs. But anyway, so guys, before he joins, I wanted to let you guys know this week of my videos. So I have round 3. So I have the finalizing round 2, letting you guys know who won my World Cup of Fragrances round 2. Also the matchups going into round 3. And then on Wednesday, I have the World Cup of Fragrances round 3 starting, 2 videos. And then we have some videos going into the weekend, including reviewing all 3 of these. Hold on. There we go. Invite guests. Add.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, guys?
I was editing. I was literally going to get something from Justin's channel because I'm editing the second Soul review for Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it showed that you were live. So let me go check Randy out. I forgot it's Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I saw you were talking about. I was like, oh, did he shit on anything? I'm late.
No, I said to, so I didn't spray on theirs prior to this. I just sprayed them on a tester for about a second. I wanted to kind of.
The paper's not going to tell you much, man.
Yeah.
Everything when it's a deep fragrance, you're going to miss out on so much on a test strip.
Yeah, and so today I wore yours, knowing that I wanted to get the full breakdown of yours so that I could tell everybody. And then I'm going to do the full video on Saturday for all 3. But before I did that, I was unsure about, to be honest, with any of them because I hadn't worn any of them. I only smelled them on paper. But whenever I first sprayed yours on this morning, I was just like, okay, this is not what I got on paper at all. It's not that neutral feeling that you get from something like a designer at all. And so when so I got yours, and when I first sprayed it on, I was just like, I can't believe that Ross made this fragrance.
A lot of people are surprised by it because The business over pleasure DNA is in there. That's something Claude asked me. Do you want to tie it into the first one? I said, yes, give me a little bit. So he chose iris, coriander. It's the same musk and patchouli from business over pleasure. There's a few notes that are in there, but it's a pretty far departure from the original, but it was always what I wanted to do. I had already planned this fragrance before the last bottle of business over pleasure was sold, because there was talks of maybe doing it again. So me liking to always be prepared, I had already talked to Claude. Like, here, there's a chance we're doing it. Here's what I'm thinking, and got his mind working on what I would like to do. And when George gave the green light, I was ahead of the curve. My fragrance was finished before everyone else's, because I started working before I even got the green light.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me.
Because I was ready, because I know George. And if he says it, if he throws that this is what he's thinking out there, he's going to do it. That's who George is.
And you're talking about Claude. Claude Mir is the perfumer, correct? Claude Deer.
Yeah, so he's actually George's in-house perfumer in many ways, because he's retired. He's still contracted through MON, but he doesn't really do much for other companies. He kind of almost exclusively works for George. Not works for George, but creates fragrances for George. Right. I talked to him yesterday. He had texted me. George wasn't answering, so he's like, "Hey, can you tell George I'm looking for him?" He always does that. It's funny, but with Claude, I was lucky enough to get him for the first fragrance, because we submitted briefs to MON, to the representatives we were dealing with, the team we work with. And Justin and Andrea got different perfumers, and I got Claude. And I immediately called George. I said, "Did you do this?" I said, "Did what?" And I told him I had Claude, and he started laughing. He's like, "I had nothing to do with that." He said, "MON matched your briefs to who they thought was best to bring that profile to life." He's like, "Claude was just obviously the best choice to bring."
Oh, definitely.
I wanted a floral fragrance, Yeah. So, and it's a blessing, because I've gotten to know him so well that I've learned that when he gets to know you and the way your mind works, he can sync pretty well with what you're looking for. And I've told people this before. I didn't have to write a brief this time. We just had a couple talks on the phone and brought this thing to life.
Wow.
So it's amazing.
Yours is by far the most unique of the three.
I wanted people, because I listen, I pay attention, I watch as much stuff as I can, and business over pleasure is exactly what I wanted. Now, it didn't get the grandest reception because it was not some off the wall or some, like, if it would have been a beast, it would have got a bigger reception, but it would not have fit what I wanted in the story I was telling. It was not meant to be this, in your face kind of thing, or just, a 12-hour fragrance with, this lingering trail. It was meant to be in an office setting, which you have to be more respectful of others in an office setting. So that was the idea behind it. But it's telling a story of basically my story. This fragrance tells the other side of the personality. That's the professional side. That's how I operate in a professional setting. Outside of work, this is how I operate. Brash, different, outspoken, no gray area. You're going to love it or you're going to hate it. That's my personality. You're going to love me or you're going to hate me. You don't kind of like me or kind of don't like me.
I wish I would have been around to try that. Because I wasn't around to try business over pleasure. I wasn't even in the fragrance community at that point.
Randy, you've become one of my favorite people in here. And I'll tell you what, message me your address on IG. I'll send you one of my personal bottles I kept for myself. You can have one of my bottles of business over pleasure.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Man, thank you so much. Everybody, shout out to Ross.
I kept a small stash for myself, just like I did with Evening Mystique. I didn't keep as many of Evening Mystique because it's double the size.
Right.
I kept 4 bottles of Evening Mystique, but I kept 8 bottles of business over pleasure. You can have one of my bottles.
Oh, thank you so much, man. That's all. I was, because I told you, I don't know if you were in the chat at that point in time. The only one that I ever tried from the original 3, because I wasn't even on YouTube Fragrance at that point in time when you were doing Zed Creators 1. And the only one that I tried was sent to me by one of my fragrance, one of my subs, and it was Brass Soul. And that's why I said I compared that to the
Brass and Soul.
Brass and Soul, sorry.
I heard you say it earlier. I forgot to tell you. Brass and Soul.
On the decant, he wrote Brass Soul. So and so I tried that in comparison to his new one, and that one's the super close.
And that's something else I wanted to bring up about that. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I smell a lot of Brass and Soul." In the opening, you will. I mean, I'm wearing it today. I've worn it a bunch of times. If you give it an hour, it is not the same fragrance anymore. It dries down to a completely different, dark, leather-based, smoky, earthy fragrance.
Yeah, and I'm getting in. That's why I said if you weren't here for the opening, I wasn't a huge fan of the opening. It wasn't I didn't like it. It was the fact that I liked it, not loved it. And now that I got into the dry down, because his was immediately third place, and then
it's been that way in first impressions for a lot of people, and I really believe when they sit with it, they're going to start having more of a toss up. Like, I don't know what to rank third now, because they're all so good and so different from one
exactly.
another.
And the only reason now that I'm ranking Andrea's third, which I don't even like to do rankings usually,
probably because it's a little feminine.
Yeah, that's it. My wife is actually
the coconut and the jasmine come out a lot on my skin with the cognac and the spice and stuff, which I like feminine fragrances though. I like florals and stuff like that. And I mean, as long as you like gourmands or slightly feminine leaning floral tones and stuff like that, there's people that are raving about it. You know what I mean? Guys that are raving about it. It's just got to be your cup of tea. Just know it doesn't have as much of a masculine gourmand tone as the first one, you know, but it's a banger.
Yeah, and I get a lot of white musks in hers, and I get a lot of dark musks in yours.
Yeah, so a lot of people are bringing up the musk. That's the Orchinox that everybody's like, I don't know what this is. It's of the ambergris family. It's a resinous musk.
And see,
it's one of the notes that Claude added that I wanted for the final rendition when I asked him to make one more full of resin. Because you probably heard the story. I went 2 months before the final rendition. This rendition right here. This 25, which this was my third decant of it, but this, I can get it to focus, is a ZAHAROFF / Fedora Mod 3. That was the code name at Mom, is Fedora. 25% June was the last time they gave me one was in June. The first one I had got after I picked it was in like May. Yeah, May or April, something like that. Anyways, point being, the previous Fedora Mod 2 did not have the resins. It was much more the gin. It had a big gin hit from the juniper. It was much spicier and aromatic, and it still had the smokiness. It still had frankincense and everything. Had the iris was more prominent because it didn't have as dark and heavy of notes in it. And I was like, man, this is good, but I feel like there's something missing because I wanted to really bring my best foot forward here with what I wanted. So I called Claude. It was like 2 months past, and I told him, I was like, man, I was kind of nervous to call you because I don't want you to. I know I'm not going to insult him, but part of me was like, is it insulting that I've waited this long to tell him? Because I was really trying to marinate on it. And he's like, oh, no. So we started spitballing, and I've told this story. He was talking about I can make one with oud. I can use a darker patchouli. I'll make you one with some myrrh, and I'll add this and that. And he made the one with the resins first and stopped and emailed me. Instead of calling me, he emailed me so he could CC our representatives at Mon and said, you were right. This is the one. Call me when you get it. I want to hear what you think. And I was floored. Like how a lot of people are with this was my reaction the first time. And it was not a macerate. It was a lab sample, not a production batch that was macerated. It was kind of an early stage version of it, as I guess would be the way to look at it. And I've said it before. I'll say it again. I could not be more proud of Evening Mystique. I'm loving all the feedback. It's better than I even envisioned it coming out. I love it. I'm so proud.
Yeah. So in the opening, I get a decent amount of that Angelica root and then also in the dry down, I get some
herbal tone too, the Angelica.
Yeah. And then I also do get some of that myrrh in the dry down. It brings in a little bit of that sweetness.
It's just a little bit of a vanillic tone from it.
Yeah. It comes off like a little bit of a sweetness that I said it blends really nicely with what you were doing with this fragrance. And again, I didn't know what like 9 of the 10 notes meant, but overall, your fragrance is literally the most unique. It just
I've heard that a lot. That word has been thrown around a lot for it.
It's the only way that I can really describe it. It's a unique resinous, and it feels dark and musky, in my opinion. It's one of the Evening Mystique is the West. It's a mystique. It's just a mysterious.
It's kind of like it's kind of like Middle Eastern perfumery done in the West in some ways because of the resins and the incense. Is how I like to look at it.
It's a mysterious evening fragrance. It's literally the best way to put it. Somebody said, "Yo, that's dope."
Here is your bottle, sir. Here is your bottle, sir.
You know, all my subs are saying that you were a boss, so I really appreciate that.
Still wrapped with the sticker on it and everything because we had the custom stickers. for the first round too. With, I mean, you see all our names and everything on the paper.
Do you mind if I, when I get it, if I put the two together and I review them? Because I'm going to wait until I get the bottle. Whatever you want to do, man. Yeah, because I want to get the bottle of Evening Mystique as long as it's there in a week. Which hopefully, do you think it will be in 1 week?
Yeah, there's still gonna be some available. We made as many as we could without, because it's a hefty investment for George. There's not a little bit of money he spent investing in this.
No, yeah, I figured.
We made more than last time. We went bigger. We went better. We did everything bigger. Everything's bigger from the last time because of all of the feedback. We listened to all of the feedback. But yeah, this is going to be heading your way. I'm leaving, for those of you, breaking news that haven't heard. I'm flying back to Chicago at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll be there till Friday. There's so much more work to do. And I'm the one of the group that has the availability to help George. Because as you can imagine, with all the positivity, sales are spiking up even more too. So there's a lot of stuff to do. More samples need to be made for all three. Bottles need to be wrapped. Orders need to be packed. So I'm going to spend another 4.5 days roughly and help George out. So I'll be heading back tomorrow. So I won't be able to get this out to you tomorrow. I'll be back. I'm flying to Louisiana to visit family, stopping in Texas, then coming home. So it'll be like Wednesday or Thursday of not this week coming, but the following. So it'll be like 10 days before I can get it out to you. But I am going to get this heading your way, my man.
Well, I appreciate
whatever you want with it.
Yeah, because I was going to wait until I got the bottle of Evening
But when
Mystique.
you get it, you'll smell, especially as this one dries versus the other one drying, you'll get the tie-in.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to be able to just do a side-by-side comparison and see if I get what, because from what other people said, at least from what I heard from some of my subs that have it, is that they don't get the comparison. But with that said,
it's there.
Yeah,
it's there.
So I could hear the sound in your voice. You were like, I have to go back to Chicago.
Well, no, I'm happy to do it. I'm going to do some live streams again while I'm there doing work and everything. I'm excited to go back, but it has been a hectic few weeks. This is my third trip in like 5 weeks.
Right.
It's going to be like my third week of 5 over there. I've only been home since Wednesday. I'm already flying back out. So I'm trying to get a couple pieces of content done. Like I have a video coming tomorrow, my cheap winter list. Then I have filmed the review for Justin's fragrance. I'm gonna put out Tuesday. I have the new Happy Land fragrance I got 2 days ago. I haven't even opened yet. So I'm gonna do that video for a first impression. So I'm trying to get a lot of content done. I still got to pack. It's a busy night tonight.
I just got a Initio Paragon. That
what do you
one
think about it?
I sprayed it only on a tester for a second because I want to do first impression on it. So the only thing I smelled it, gave it to my wife, told her to throw it away, just so I didn't have too much of an idea. It's sweet. I love it. Just based on the 3 seconds that I smelled it, I don't know any of the notes from it. I didn't smell it for more than 3 seconds, but it's really good.
I've heard it was good.
Yeah, I want to do my first impression pretty much on unfiltered. So I smelled it for a second.
I see Eddie's comment. Eddie, I can't make no promises, man. He's selling it to anybody that's buying it. You know,
somebody said it's starting to smell in here because Ross is the shit.
I appreciate it. It. Look, guys, Randy's a good dude. I really like Randy. I have extras. I'll probably never go. I wanted to make sure I had more than I'll ever need because it's, at the time when I took this stash for myself, it's like, this might be the only time I ever get to do this. I want to be able to talk about this when I'm an old man and stuff like I want bottles that are going to outlive me. I wanted to make sure I had enough. And now that enough time's passed, I know I'm not going to go through all of them. You're a great guy. I'd love to pass this along to you because I know you'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely 100% appreciate it even before you sent it to me. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your work and all this. I said there's one word you have the drive and you have the range. I didn't smell your first fragrance, but I can tell you that it's
much safer.
smelling this, you have range. Just in your collaboration with ZAHAROFF, I can just tell that with your creativity, you have the range to do pretty much anything in fragrance.
Thank you, man.
And so I was shocked by the smell from the everything going on with your fragrance is just leaving me mind boggled. That just came from you. And I'm not saying that in a mean way.
No,
Like
no, I
where
get it because a lot of
yeah.
people relate me as blue fragrance mass appealing guy. I get
Yeah,
it.
somebody said that they're surprised you didn't do a blue fragrance or aquatic. I said, well, first off, it's not that type of time of year.
The first time they thought this was about as blue as it was going to get for me.
Yeah.
That's why the blue is in the color scheme and everything. It's kind of a blue iris fragrance in many ways because it's so versatile and easy to wear. But it was never, because if I would have made a blue fragrance, think about how people would have crucified me. You know how many freaking blue fragrances there are? You know,
seriously, right?
Why basically shit on an opportunity and make something that's more generic?
Exactly.
You know, that's how I really felt about it. Like, I want to make something that means something. There's a story behind it. I knew presentation was going to be next level because it was dealing with George,
right?
As you guys could see. Have you ever seen the presentation on Business Over Pleasure?
I've seen I did the presentations all last week. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because in hand, just like when you get Evening Mystique, in hand's a different experience from seeing it on your phone or on your computer.
No, yeah. I haven't fully held it in my hand. I only own the signature TABAC now. I own
Scales, you're killing me, man. I get the,
what?
The Saturday Night Live thing that Scales said. Because you're good enough, smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Patrick said earlier, Ross, can you find any Dolce & Gabbana the ones at discounters? Yes, I'll just answer that. Yes, you can.
Oh yeah.
They're pretty much all on there.
They pop up. It's even rack stores. You'll find them from time to time, but it's easy to find them on a discounter. EDT, EDP, Gray. I've been seeing Gentleman pop up, which has been discontinued a while.
Right.
All the Middle Eastern flankers, Mysterious Night, Royal Night, they all keep popping up. They're easy to get.
I actually have a question for you in a second, but I wanted to let you know, Eddie, the person who was saying to tell George to save the bottles.
Yeah, Eddie's a regular on my channel too.
He was joking. He was the one who sent me all of them.
Well, I appreciate you, Eddie. Thank you, man.
Yeah, he was.
Because he told me he had a subscriber sending him some decants of it. I had no idea who.
No, yeah, he was joking when he told you to tell George to save a few bottles because he's the one who bought the bottles.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but what I was gonna tell you is, I know you do the Marshalls and TJ Maxx and Ross's and stuff like that haul. So I went to Marshalls last week and there was maybe 6 fragrances there. And I went today or yesterday. There was literally 300. There was MANCERA's. There was not MANCERA's Replica. There was Juliet Has a Gun. I've
come across those and MANCERA at TJ Maxx here.
Yeah. You need to go to your Marshalls in the next couple of days. I'm telling you, I don't know what happened over the last couple of days, but a few of my subscribers said theirs is the exact same, just starting this week. It's crazy.
So I haven't been to a Burlington in Chicago, and it was George's idea to go to Marshalls for that video, by the way. And he's like, you want to go to Ross too? Like, he was all into it. And I'm like, nah, we're good. I think we got plenty of video that people are going to love. But I think I'm gonna see if he wants to do Burlington next time.
Alan,
sometime this week. I think that's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, Alan, Fragrance Fight Night. He lives down the street from me. It's the one near.
You live near Alan?
Down the street.
Fuck, y'all need to do a video together.
We already thought about that. We're gonna do it soon. I don't think we've ever actually talked about it, but he had his wife
do a video with Randy.
He had his wife come down, pick up a few fragrances a little while ago. But anyway, it's the one in Pleasant Hill, West Mifflin. Next to Ulta and Sephora. Yeah, he lives in Bethel Park. I live in South Park. It's pretty much just like
that's hilarious that you live in South Park.
Yeah, seriously, right? People are like, is this show made after you? And I'm like, no, but that's why I don't know if you've ever seen any of my stupid 25 things where I do the South Park voices like Cartman and
I haven't seen that.
I do them like every month. I do 25 fragrances where I just do them in like South Park or like Cartman. I'll do the voices. Then I'll do Kermit the Frog and Chewbacca and like Fat Albert and stuff like that. But I do them once a month. If you look on my playlist, I think they're 25 and 5 is what it's called. But people are like, is that why you do them? I'm like, no, I live in South Park, but surprisingly, nobody's ever like around here. There's nothing having to do with actually South Park around here. Like nobody talks about it around here. But whenever I go on and tell someone from South Park that doesn't live in South Park, everybody's always talking about like, hey, do you know Cartman and Kenny? And
yeah,
stuff?
right.
Like, yeah.
I would imagine that would come up every time.
Yeah. Somebody said the voices kill me. Yeah, I did them like literally every week for the first 7 months of my channel, and then I kind of stopped them because I mean, if you do 25 fragrances every week for 7 months, kind of you kind of run out of fragrances.
So guys, imagine Randy with a beard, with more of a beard.
Oh my! Is that your
That's
younger
my little brother? Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You look like my little brother a little bit.
What's your age?
I'm 37. He's 31.
So we're the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you are the same age.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to show you that because he's lost a ton of weight too.
Yeah,
he's super skinny now.
Yeah, see, I weighed 195 2 years ago, and then I broke my leg, and then when I broke my leg, I gained 78 pounds. And then so I just started running, I'd say 2 months ago, because I mean it was hard for me to even get the courage to run again. And so I started running pretty much every day now, and I do an hour, so about 5 miles. And then I lost 27 pounds. So I'm trying to get back to 195, but that's going to be super hard to do.
You can do it.
I know that you're
only hard if you make it hard.
No, it won't be hard. I'm just saying as far as the amount of time it's going to take, because I might get 30 or 40 out of the way easy, but then once you continue getting into it, it's hard. But what was I going to say? You and Andrea, did you guys go to Scent Explorer? I think I asked you that the other day.
No, Andrea went to Scent Explorer.
Andrea. Is that so? I keep saying Andrea. It's Andrea.
Well, it's actually Andrea.
Andrea. Okay, so but yeah.
I'm from here, so I say Andrea.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's from Cyprus. So yeah, where she's at, it might be Andrea, where you roll the R and everything. Here we say Andrea.
Yeah. Have you ever smelled Tiger?
No, a bunch of people have asked me though. I've heard it's great.
No, because the dry down of hers reminds me of it.
Really?
Yeah, it's that woodiness that comes in her dry down with the musks, because Tiger is a super woody, musky fragrance, especially in the dry down, and so it reminds me of it in the dry down. I haven't specifically tried Tiger. I tried Tarafi Blue, which is the clone of Tiger.
Pretty close up.
And and it reminds me, like, not exactly, but it just gives me certain vibes of it. I was shocked by how good you guys did with these fragrances.
I wasn't. And I say that as humbly as I can, man, because we don't get restraints. We don't have guidelines. It's go create magic. Yeah, like George has he never smells the fragrances until after we've all talked about it on a Zoom together of what we've been working on with our perfumers.
Right.
We collaborate with George on the packaging. George literally says, go have fun with our perfumers. Like, we do whatever the hell we want. And he crosses his fingers and hopes we make something that works out, you know?
Yeah, because I saw the Novitus ones. Like, I tried almost every Novitus, and so I had a bad taste in my mouth from Novitus. Like,
that's the feedback I've heard from a lot of people. I haven't tried anything from Novitus.
Yeah, there's two that are worth it, but there's way too many to have only two that are worth it. And so that put a bad taste in my mouth as far as fragrance reviewers making fragrances. And so when I got yours, I was taken to another elevated plane just because of how good your fragrances are compared to what I've tried from Novitus.
Well, at the end of the day, it's my premise, it's my idea. There's notes and accords and things that I want, but it comes through the brilliance of Claude Deer.
Right.
Understanding me. And it's basically bringing my vision to life through his talents.
How much of creative collaboration do you get on it? Like, I mean, I know they still.
It's whatever I want. If I say Claude, take this out, Claude, he'll do it.
You still have the ZAHAROFF DNA though. Like he has because some people were talking about it, and I said I don't know enough about this.
Well, the funny thing when people say that is because it's Claude. What they're smelling is a Claude Deer like thumbprint in many ways. It's not necessarily a ZAHAROFF DNA. It's Claude Deer because he perfumes all of the ZAHAROFF fragrances. So it's more his style that people are relating because the oils he likes to use, some of them are in my fragrance that are in some of George's. Like, I'm sure it's the same amber. I'm sure it's the same myrrh. One of the two incenses, actually, he's used both of those incenses in different fragrances for George. Olibanum resin is in rosé. Regular frankincense is in signature pour homme and a few others. Like, It's probably the same patchouli. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's the stuff the tools he prefers to use, the raw materials he likes to use is gonna be shared. It's the same Florentine iris. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I can
that's
sense
what
that
people
patchouli.
are smelling. Is it's the same perfumer that uses the same raw materials to create different fragrances.
No, yeah, and I get like that patchouli that you're talking about. I can sense it in all three, but with the two, they're a little bit more downplayed. And
This is
Second
more
Soul,
of a clean patchouli that Claude likes to
yeah,
use.
and
He's got a dark one that he likes and a clean one that he likes. This one has a clean one because as it gets deeper into the dry down, so a lot of the darkness fades on Evening Mystique.
Is in Second Soul, I know now that you were saying that, I was just smelling it. There is that leather quality.
So there's labdanum and suede, and I think the labdanum assists the suede into creating such a heavy leather base.
That's what I was going to ask because I didn't see leather in the breakdown.
Yeah, there's labdanum though, which can come across leathery, and I think that's what's going on here. Because typically, let's say you smell leather in a fragrance that has no leather, not even suede, but you see labdanum. If there's no saffron or anything, I always attribute it to that creating the accord because labdanum comes across that way a lot of the time. Saffron can as well. Right. So it all depends. There's so many because there's no actual leather oil. It's notes creating a leathery smell.
Right.
That's why you can get a soft, supple leather. You can get a rough and tumble animalic leather. You can get all these different things.
Right. You know? I actually did a like fragrance tips and tricks or terminology video where I had to explain that to people because a lot of people were asking me the questions and I was like, you can't really just come up with amber. Like you have to put
that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Create an accord.
Yes. And so a lot of people don't understand the difference between that. And so I was trying to explain it kind of in layman's terms. Somebody asked you what happened with Royal XXX. Was that ever released? I'm not sure if you're
not full bottle yet. Beginning of next year, it's coming. That's a collaboration with Joey Cannoli.
Oh, okay.
I was inspired by. So that wasn't the same process that we went through for Joey. Joey had a lot of input, but it wasn't the same. Like he got assigned a perfumer working with Mon. It's not the exact same thing. It's not a Zed Creator fragrance. It's a different type of collaboration that George is doing with Joey. Shout outs to Joey. That's my guy.
Yeah.
But it's Joey Cannoli through and through. It is a raunchy ass fragrance. And wait till you guys see the presentation on that. I'm not going to spoil. It's not my place to spoil anything on that. But that's the one ZAHAROFF fragrance that is not for me. I cannot wear. George knows that that's good stuff's coming in the video. Like those that have been waiting on that ZAHAROFF fragrance I don't like, that's the one. And it's not that I don't like it. It's not something I can wear because I don't like crazy animalic musk. That is not one of the animalics I like. Right. Anybody that's been watching me a long time, you know I don't like. There's only certain musks and certain vetivers that work for me. This is not a musk for me. There's people that have smelled the decant that went out in the little decant set that raved about it. That one was kind of bordering too animalic for me. Right. There's since been two more, much more raunchy ass musky renditions. That is what's going to be the one released. So it's the most artistic niche of fragrances to come out of ZAHAROFF. So it's an eyebrow raiser. It's going to make a statement.
As soon as you just said Joey Cannoli and the presentation and Wild, I just envisioned there being like a Bluetooth light strip on the bottle.
There's not that. I know. I mean, I know exactly what it looks like. It's not. I can't spoil that for.
No,
Joey.
I
you know what I mean.
I totally.
But that's what I can say because there's enough people that have smelled one rendition that did go out. Just know for those of you that did get the decant set that George sold, the limited decant set, the bottle that's coming out in a limited run, because it will be a limited run, it's much more nasty.
You're reminding me of the zoologist fragrances that I tested on the channel.
Super artistic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Somebody said there's a leather tobacco coming out first.
Yeah, Eddie, that they've been sold out. The decants aren't available anymore. Those sets flew off the site.
For leather tobacco?
No, for XXX. He was just us. So he was talking about that. So leather tobacco, I can't give a specific date. Just know that before the year turns 2023, there's going to be a pre-sale.
So, hey guys, sometime in the next 17 days.
And I'm not the one doing the first video this time. I could. I got the bottle right behind this camera that you can't see it. But somebody else is getting the honors this time.
I'm going to turn the camera.
Somebody else is getting the honors this time.
Well, sad for you, Ross.
No, it's okay.
No,
I can't do every launch. You know, I can't. Me and Justin can't do every single launch.
So, are you leaving tomorrow?
I'm fly at 6 o'clock. 6:05, my flight leaves. I gotta get up early as shit. I still gotta pack. I'm still I just started editing Justin's video. I got one more video to film and then edit that one too. So I'm gonna have a late night. I might not even sleep. I might just sleep on my flight.
Jeez, bro.
Yeah, I got so much shit to do. Because if I lay down, I'm probably gonna get 2 or 3 hours, and it's not even worth it really. Because I run the risk of sleeping late.
No, I couldn't even imagine. I just have to wake up and do nothing tomorrow.
Well, I love that I'm so busy right now.
Yeah,
I love it. I love the responding to messages, the watching everybody's videos, the jumping on the live streams, doing all my usual stuff, still finding time to go to the gym. Now I'm heading back to Chicago to do some more work. Movement is life. Right. Like George likes to say, movement is life. So I love it. I love being this busy.
See, I work from home, and I work now. Tomorrow, yes, I'm doing nothing tomorrow, but I'm working about 70 hours a week for December and January. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to get my videos in, still do live streams, all of that, and not have a mental breakdown. But I can't even imagine, because you're doing more than I am.
It's a lot, man. Like I said, it's good problems to have.
Somebody said, what do I think about Tom Ford's Noir Extreme Parfum? So I said it in my, you haven't tried it? Mm-hmm. So the way that it is, I did it in my, so I ranked and reviewed all 36 releases from this year yesterday.
I saw the thumbnail. Yeah, I haven't watched the video yet. I saw the thumbnail.
And so for the first 26, I kind of just did a 10-second breakdown of the ones that didn't make the top 10. And then I did the top 10. And so Noir Extreme didn't make the top 10 only because it was, to me, slightly redundant to the original. I like the original better because the kind of take the opening from the original, which is that more spicy, darker, and then you get down to that sweet vanilla, and it kind of just gets sweeter. And I like the dry down of the original better. When you get to the Parfum, it's pretty much that opening throughout. It's a darker, deeper, heavier take on the original Noir Extreme.
So the way I look at that is it really a Parfum version of something if it veers too far away in the first place? So really, that's kind of doing it right. If it's redundant, they're actually doing it right. You want to evolve like Brass and Soul to Second Soul. That's an evolution. Whereas if he'd have just made a Brass and Soul Parfum, it's not really supposed to veer off too much. Maybe a little different. So I can actually appreciate what they did.
No, and I get you. And if I liked it better than the original, I probably wouldn't be saying that.
Yeah.
It's just because I like the original because it's sweeter and that vanilla is more prominent in the original, then that's probably why I'm saying that. And I'm not a huge fan of the opening of the original Noir Extreme, but that goes away.
I like it, but I don't love it. I never bought a bottle. I've sprayed it at Sephora. I have a carded sample that I've never even gone through the whole thing. Right. It's nice. It's a sexy evening fragrance, all the things people have said about it, but I don't know. I feel like there's others I like more. So it's like, do I need a bottle to just sit here with the rest that are collecting dust?
Right. Now, see, I love the dry down of it, though. To me, it's one of my favorite vanilla fragrances, but only after you get through that first 3 minutes. But that's the reason I don't like the Parfum is because they take that opening that I didn't really like and they kind of stretched it out for 9 hours. And so that's pretty much my take on that fragrance.
Understandable.
Long story short, anyway. So I love a good leather suede. That sounds interesting. What are we talking about now? Oh, we're talking about Second Soul.
Second Soul, probably. Because the dry down is magnificent. Like I said, I have 4 sprays on my neck and plus a spray on my hand. I love it. I
did not appreciate the opening as much as I should. And as soon as I got to the dry down 20 minutes in, it just took me by surprise because from that opening into now, it's literally up there with yours. It's very nice.
So the way you got to look at the opening, and anybody watching that has both, I guess, can appreciate this because it's going to make complete sense to you. The opening of Second Soul is to take you back, reminisce, and remind you of the original fragrance, and then take you on the journey to the new one. as it settles in and starts to dry down. That's the best way you can look at what Second Soul is. It gives you a hit of the original to remind you, basically. And then it takes you on a different ride.
You have a way with words, bud.
I just love this stuff, man.
It just takes you on a journey, man.
It does.
So, how many more bottles do you have left to pack up right now?
Pack up to go on my trip?
No, like how many? I don't know if you can even share it. Like how many evening Mystiques do you have left until they're gone?
We'll see. Only time will tell.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't even have asked that question.
Okay, a bunch of people ask. It's something I cannot share.
Yeah, well, maybe one of these days I'll just kind of ask you 50 questions and somehow I'll compile that in there, and then you accidentally answer it, and then I'll just be like, "See, guys, I got the download."
There's some things out there that are best kept in house. You know,
no, I get it.
We're pretty transparent with just about everything, but some things are best kept in house for ZAHAROFF. You know.
Oh no, I totally get it. What is your take on the fact that there is no new releases for the last 3 months in the designer community since Coach Open Road? Do you think that they're going to do what they did last year and just compile them into January through March with 20 of them? And then
probably.
I
Which
really
I don't think was a good move. I think they need to focus more on early fall releases for the shopping season, because trying to market something that's been out for months is not as easy as marketing something fresh.
I was just talking with somebody, another reviewer.
They know the niche hobby that this is growing. They know, they have their finger on the pulse.
Right.
You know, even though they're marketing to the masses still, they know about us.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to another reviewer, and they said that, like, I can't remember. They said, I don't understand why something like Coral Fantasy, Most Wanted Parfum, Givenchy Gentleman Reserve, Privé were all released in March. Like, I
don't get that either, because it's the beginning of weather starting to warm up.
Yeah, because right now you'd have so many more people talking about them and being able to buy more bottles, but nobody wants to buy. If someone's reviewing and saying this is a fall and winter fragrance, and then someone says, "Okay, then I'm going to wait until fall,"
and then they'll forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. And so most of the people are forgetting about Reserve Privé and Coral Fantasy and Most Wanted Parfum. If it wasn't for channels like me who just talk about Most Wanted Parfum every freaking day, they would forget about it completely. I know a lot of people don't necessarily put Most Wanted up there as tops, but for me, I don't know.
I love the original.
Yes, the original
version, the black bottle Most Wanted.
Yeah, that fresh gourmand that you can wear in pretty much any season is just absolutely amazing.
It's so versatile for being so sweet.
Exactly. And that's why I like about it. I always say it's the only fresh gourmand I can say in my collection is one that you can wear pretty much any season at night. Where I live, at least. I don't know in Atlanta if you can or not.
I'm not in Atlanta.
Oh, where are you?
Colorado Springs.
I thought you lived in Atlanta.
No, hell no.
Jeez, who lives in Atlanta then?
I don't know. I've been here for 2 years.
I thought that you lived in Atlanta.
I was in Texas prior for 4 years.
Oh, wait, maybe that
was I've been here for 2 years, and I'm going back to Texas in March.
Oh, maybe that was Brian from My Two Cents that I'm getting you confused with. That I honestly didn't know where you lived. I just always suspected it was.
I'm in a snowy climate. Like, it's going to snow in the morning. It snows every time I fly.
Yeah, but I think
every time I fly out in this last 6 weeks.
I always heard you say that on your channel, that like the weather and stuff, but it was only lately and that you were saying it on Instagram, and I thought you were talking about it because you were in Chicago. And I never really put 2 and 2 together. That I think you said something about it. You were in Atlanta or something at one point in time.
I've never been to Atlanta.
Then I guess I
don't know where you're getting that from.
I'm losing my mind then, Ross. I'm losing my mind.
I don't know where you're getting that from.
All right, everybody. Ross lives in Colorado Springs, and I'm completely fucking nuts. So,
so you're not my little brother.
No, I'm not your little brother. Sorry. Dude with that wiki of the fragrance community. Yeah, I'm completely
off. I say little brother, you're my same age.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, like my little brother.
That's what I said. You said that in your live the other day, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much sure that I'm either older than you or the exact same age as you. Look who's here. Had to step away for a while. Oh yeah, Ross is here. The big man of the fragrance community said that he's going to send me a bottle of business over pleasure. and I am super excited to get that and
from my personal stash.
From his personal stash. And oh, that's right. Okay, so the last time that I was on, had somebody on my
Bill's from
live.
Atlanta.
Last time I had Joe on my live, and he said he was from Atlanta, and for some reason, because you were on my live the most, I just obviously thought that was you. Thank you for Hanson for reminding me that. Brian is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay, that makes sense. But I say the middle of February they should come out with a new fragrance. I say right now they should come out with a
I think they should
fragrance.
Spread according to season.
Right.
You know, if it's fresher, spring summer releases. If it, or the end of winter before spring starts. If it's a darker, heavier fragrance, richer notes, start marketing that in like September, October, as we're starting to transition. You know.
Yeah, like they released the Dior Swart 2021 December 28th last year.
I remember. That was very, very strange.
And so I can see them releasing a few fall and winter fragrances in January because you still have 3 months. But as soon as you get into February and March, that should be spring, summer season for releases until you get to about September.
Give me 1 sec. I got Justin texting me and George calling me. Give me a sec.
Oh, no problem. No problem. All right, guys. So that obviously Ross. So yeah, we have Randy here who absolutely knows nothing about where Ross lives, obviously. So thank you for reminding me that it was what's his name? That Joey that lives in Atlanta. Yeah.
Do you want some company for a minute?
Sure.
George to come say hello.
Oh, George Zaharoff, absolutely.
Yeah, go to IG to his @GZaharoff account. Drop him the link in there. He'll come jump on for a little bit.
Sure.
Justin didn't know I was live. I just said in a live. I'll call you after, and then George started calling.
Yeah, let me. I'm.
See, we're close, guys. We're all close. You know what I mean? We're all friends. It's not just some business relationship. We all love each other, man.
So George Zaharoff.
Yeah, it's gonna be @GZaharoff. This is his personal IG. Because remember, we were at dinner and we were going to jump on to say hi last time I was in Chicago, and it just didn't work out the timing. You were about to end it.
You know how many people got mad at me for that?
Well, seriously. Rick RXL even messaged me, "Hey, Randy's staying on. He's trying to get you the link," and I didn't see the message till after.
Yeah, people were yelling at me like, "I can't believe that you just."
I appreciate that, guys.
Like they got so pissed. All right.
I love you guys too.
I need to. There was 2 @GZaharoffs, and now I lost the link, so I have to go back in. There was for a second, but I got out of it. I just have to StreamYard. I lost the link. There we go. Copy.
2 of them.
There was when I was typing it in, but I was also typing.
Oh, the real GZA is right underneath it.
Yeah. There we go. All right, I sent it to him. Sorry. There we go.
No worries.
Sorry, George. Alan said Randy's out here killing the game. No, I'm not. I'm just a small channel that just was nice to Ross one time, and then we became friends from there. So that was that. And Ross is actually one of the nicest guys you will meet in the fragrance community. And that's and he makes partnerships with one of the nicest guys that is a George Zaharoff.
The real one of the nicest guys. That man's a unicorn. Yes.
I've been on literally
anybody that has a problem with George Zaharoff is the problem.
Yeah, I have been on your lives and in the chats with him lately, and I literally was just like, I don't think that guy could be any more of an angel. Literally, he just is so nice to everybody.
He's such a giving, caring person. He doesn't invest in social statuses. He invests in people. He believes in people still. Even in today's climate, he believes in people.
Yep. I can't stop saying it to him. Like, and he even comes to my page and likes and says, "Hey, hi to me," and I'm just some random guy. And I was just like, I mean,
First time I talked to him, I had 40 subscribers, man.
I remember that. Was that on a Zaharoff video, or was that just him?
No, I just messaged him randomly. He came up as a friend suggestion on Facebook.
Nice.
And I had been through 2 carded samples of Signature Pour Homme, and I was just reaching out, tell him what I thought about the fragrance, that it's one, short list of next fragrances that I want to buy.
What a nice guy.
Yeah,
I remember you saying
such a
that
nice
he was one of your first subscribers, and I was just like,
I received a bottle from him as a gift the day I hit 100 subscribers.
Really? That's even nicer of a guy.
The day I hit 1,000, he allowed me the opportunity to give away a bottle of Signature Pour Homme to giveaway winner. George has been with me pretty much from the start of that name you see in front of me. George has been with me the whole way.
And you were
such
always
a great
TLTG,
person, such
right?
a great friend. What's that?
I said you were always TLTG from the beginning, right?
Yeah, the day I started the channel, it was TLTG Reviews, which the channel had already existed. It was just a profile I was watching YouTube on, and I just converted it into an active channel.
Yeah, he just followed me. Okay. I think he had to follow me to view my message.
Probably so.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just got a message on my other, because I have my daughter's phone that I'm sending to you guys, and then I also have my phone up here. As you know, I don't have a computer with a good camera in order to do my live. So, but it's exciting to get George on. I've actually never personally, I talked to him in the live chats a bunch, but outside of that, he's just
anytime I'm in a live stream and he messages me, texts me or whatever, I'm like, I'm in a live. You want to come say hi?
Yeah.
You know, I do that to him all the time, and he always says yes.
Well, you know what's funny? You know what's funny is that right before there he is.
Hi, hey there, Georgie.
Hey, what's going on, George? How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. It's actually kind of funny because right before my stream, one of my first subscribers said to me, are you reviewing the ZAHAROFF fragrances today? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, maybe George will join you. And I was like, there you go. So thank you very much for joining. I appreciate it. I just telling Ross that I've been in a few live streams where you were in there, and you were literally the kindest person that I've ever seen. Just coming on to anybody's channel, you're super kind, and I also really appreciate your work. So I wanted to get that out of the way.
You're awesome. Thank you. Eddie, Newt, Fragrance Fight Night, everybody, Kill a Comic, Kaz.
Skells is in the chat too.
I just call him Hamzat. Hey, he changes his name all the time.
There's a bunch of familiar names in the chat, George. Eddie and Alan, Fragrance Fight Night, Skells. We had a bunch of familiar names in here.
People are funny.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying I was trying out your Zed Creators 2.0 fragrances today, and I have to say that I am thoroughly impressed.
Which ones were you trying?
I have Andrea's on my left hand, I have Justin's on my right, and I have Ross's literally all over myself. So for me, Ross's is definitely my favorite. And Justin's, when I first sprayed it on, I was unsure, but now it literally is absolutely amazing. When it got to that dry down, the second sole that I was talking with Ross about, that leathery quality that comes in from the suede, and it's absolutely beautiful.
It makes me happy. You know, I'm glad because Ross gets an unusually large amount of
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we curse on this channel, George.
It's
Randy curses too.
It, not happening, and so that's awesome. George?
Yeah, and I was saying about a week ago on my last, because I previewed these before they came out, and I said nobody should ever pay attention to the hate that Ross gets, whether it's on Fragrantica or on YouTube for any of the fragrances or anything, because it's totally undeserved. He's one of the nicest guys, one of the hardest working people, and there is nothing else to be said, but Ross is just a great guy.
Thank you, Randy.
I agree. And hi, everybody. I'm reading everybody here. Hello, not George. Okay. So I have to tell you the reason why I think the sea salts were at Marshall's. Those tips had an unusually high amount of salt, and I ended up throwing it away. I took it to the they're too much salt, and I think that's probably why they were Marshalls. They're like, oh, we fucked this batch up. Just send it.
Because both times I've gone with him to Marshalls, that's what he was hunting for. Now, the first time he got some socks and stuff like that. He needed a buggy the first time. But yeah, he went as soon as we walked in. He's like, "Let's go find my chips."
Yeah.
That's what he was there for.
And so, hi Sam, Bruno, hi everybody. And so, so yes, go back to you, Randy. So I'm glad that you're enjoying that. Good to see you. It's good to be on here and in my pajamas.
Are you wearing black rose today?
I'm sorry.
Or is it dark rose or black rose?
I'm wearing the black rose, and it's
black
kind
rose.
He wears it pretty much every day, guys. It's amazing.
The contractor sent me a message tonight saying, "What were you wearing?" Because the people working on the roof wanted to know because you smelled good, and I'm like, "That's the black rose." Yeah.
Yeah, I keep hearing you talk about it on Ross's channel, and so I was
Guys,
like,
y'all
I definitely
have no idea the level of magnificence that's planned for just currently the next 3 years, not counting what's being worked on that isn't ready. Right, George? There's just so much greatness coming.
And I'm just very grateful for it. Andres, I don't have the inventory to expand with what I'm doing right now. I just don't have it. And so I'm trying to prepare for that for maybe next fall. We'll see.
Patrick, I'm from the South. Buggy, cart, shopping cart, same thing, called a buggy. That's what that is.
Oh. No, yeah, I knew that. My wife calls it that. I call it a shopping cart.
And George, I'm sending him a bottle of Business Over Pleasure out of my stash. Randy's never experienced it, so I figured I'd send him one of mine.
I think people will appreciate it more now with the story you're telling. It'll be interesting to see, because I think that, and now it tells the story of the business over pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
so
right. It's the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, George, I told him, I was like, man, I am so fucking mad that over the last couple years, I wasn't in the fragrance community. I only started my channel like 7 months ago. And I said I wasn't available for that time frame when you guys were doing Zed Creators 1.0. One of my subscribers did send me Brass and Soul. That Ross corrected me. It's Brass and Soul. He sent me a...
Yeah, he was saying Brass Soul.
Yeah, but my subscriber put on the decant Brass Soul, so I did not know it was called Brass and Soul. But Ross told me that his fragrance is kind of like a story told one back to back, and so I wanted to experience it, and he said he would send it to me, again, proving how nice of a guy he is.
I think Ross is a very nice guy. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I was just gonna go into it, and he's Miss.
I can only imagine what he's going in his mind to say about me right now.
Never mind. Guy and people, and I just think people. I said to Ross that people just need to see what a nice guy he is. That's all.
I'm his Louise.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, I'm his Louise.
I feel really jealous right now because I usually, as you know, Ross, I usually have a full blown beard going on.
Yes.
And I decide to shave when I get you two coming on my channel, and now I'm sitting here looking like a little baby face, and you guys both showing me up
with the beards.
Yeah,
that's the Jesus Christ that people are on here. That's my child. I'm here to bless you.
Yeah, everybody always says there's Jesus joining the chat today.
So George, the way I described it to him, because I just filmed a review for Justin's fragrance, and I know you've been seeing a lot of feedback. A lot of people, as soon as they do their first impressions, they're like, oh, I'm reminded of Brass and Soul. And then I've been seeing more and more people now that time is passing. They're like, wow, it's totally different when it dries down, because your first impressions is different. So I think the best way to look at Second Soul is that the opening is going to remind you of the original, so it can take you on a journey into the new story. It's reminiscent of the first one, so you remember where you were when the story was last taking place, so it can continue the story. I think that's a good way to look at it. What do you think?
I think it's like you're reading a novel, and the second novel comes out, part 2, and it kind of starts off where you become familiar with everybody, and then it goes on in its own direction. And I think that's what Second Soul is about. Exactly what you just said, Ross. It's a familiar.
Yeah, it's kind of like a brief summary before you really get into the new book. That makes sense.
This is what happens when you get a bunch of like-minded individuals together to work on something. You get a bunch of just creative, absolutely amazing not only fragrances but stories behind the fragrance.
Right.
And I think that's absolutely amazing.
And George, I got a question for you, because I know you hear the same stuff I hear, how people will say, like, both of my fragrances smell like they have a ZAHAROFF DNA. And the way I explained it is, you know, Claude is Claude. So he uses the same raw materials to make the two for me that he makes for all of yours. So it's more of a thumbprint of Claude Deer people are smelling. Like, it's the same patchouli. It's the same Florentine iris that's in Signature Pour Homme, and so on. Is that fair to say? I think that's really what people are smelling, is Claude's style more so than, oh, it's got the ZAHAROFF DNA. What do you think?
I think it's just, I think it could be a little bit of both, because the same oils, for example, your rose is the same rose that I use, the super assets. Ross's fragrance is very expensive. It's a very expensive fragrance.
Yes.
And so some of the oils that are used in his fragrance could be some of the oils that are in my fragrances. And so you're going to have that DNA. It's just how it is, but it's not a ZAHAROFF fragrance.
Well, it is, but it's like, it was created how I wanted it to go. Claude created it for me versus creating it for you. It's
right.
It's two different thought processes and visions, but it's the same perfumer using the same raw materials.
Right. That's true. And that way it could be it could be a family, like a resemblance, you know,
Yeah.
well, kind of like a ZAHAROFF. Well, they're cousins.
In many ways, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It says, that's cool. You guys make your own fragrances. You can become the next Alberto Marias. I think that he will be the next George Zaharoff, to be honest with you.
Alberto Marias is a perfumer.
Yes.
He is a perfumer. I'm not a perfumer.
Nor am I.
And I am I'm an
Visionary.
artist, and I love creating art. And I turn to Claude to create my vision. And then the final user, you are what completes my canvas. The final stroke is the wearer. And it's not bullshit. It's just how it is. Like, I create for this person I have in my mind out there living his life, going after his dreams. And so you guys, you are the final stroke in my art. And so, anyway, yeah.
The Zaharoff gentleman, as we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely makes sense. That's why I said you're the next George Zaharoff. You're not anybody else. You are the artist known as George Zaharoff, or Jeezy.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, thank you. We'll see what the future holds. We'll see what happens. I have big dreams, but let's see what what the universe wants. Hi, Tony.
Well, I'm excited about that future. I can already see. I'm peeking into it, and I can tell you, it looks fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam, too.
I just tried. I just have to say that my favorite fragrance from your setup is I think I already told you this, but Signature TABAC. It is I wore it the other night whenever I went and played pool with my friends and darts, and every one of them were like, "What are you wearing?" Because it's that good.
That's freaking awesome. I love it. TABAC is awesome. The leather TABAC is coming out soon.
Super excited.
I think that I'm just very, like, I have to tell you, so Ross is working with Claude on his you will be in big trouble, young man. You do that. So
I don't even know if Randy was looking.
I was looking. I was
Okay.
definitely looking.
No. Cock up. So
I also saved
A little bit of
lives.
scandal's good, you know?
So Ross was talking to Claude because they're going to be doing a live, and and so he goes, tell George to call me. So I get a text message, ding, call Claude. Okay, hey Claude, I have to tell you, like, I'm talking to Claude and I'm emotional the whole period because, here's this man that has created such beautiful fragrances for Zaharoff that is out there in the world, and I'm using it to build my dream and my vision and what I love so much. And I'm like almost in tears talking to him because I'm just very grateful. One fragrance is is more beautiful than the next, and as Zaharoff is moving along the timeline, everything gets more beautiful, and it's a little bit of surreal. It's surreal.
Well, as the as the niche fragrances start to explode, as they have been lately, I can tell you that yours is going to be the one that's at the top of the mountain, at least for me and a lot of my subscribers, because people can tell whenever that much love and art is put into the work behind the scenes, and you can tell that you guys do that with your fragrances.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So enough of the praising of and
yeah, the check will be in the mail.
Yes.
You know, because he pays everyone, right?
Another pack is going to be released in 2 sizes, both the small and the large.
I've been getting asked that a lot lately. I forgot if you were still doing the 2 sizes.
It's not going to be Zed Creator price either.
Mm-mm.
That will never happen, ever, never.
Tell them how much more.
It's going to come in at around $195, $200.
Just to give you guys an idea of the value you're getting with the Zed Creators project, he's forced, because of the way the economy and price of goods have gone up, he has to raise the prices, you know.
And because I'm going direct to consumer, and this was for the fragrance community, as opposed to the Zaharoff line, there has to be a certain price structure, retailers and distributors and the such. This is the only final time that I will ever have a large at 165. It will never happen again.
It's actually 160.
160.
Well, 160, yeah.
I said 160 and you said 165. Remember that? Now, did I say
I
that?
originally said 165, and you're like, no, let's do 155. I said, let's meet in the middle and do 160.
60,
Here's
yeah.
160. That's how that insight for you guys. That was the pricing idea.
I wanted this to be something that it's a higher price, but as you could see, the value, what went into it, like.
Well, think about this, guys. Signature Pour Homme 4 ounce, even 3 years ago, was $155. $5 more. Years later, in this economy, you're getting all of this in the presentation and the creativity and the storytelling for $5 more than what his large size bottle was for the last several years.
Right.
Honestly, in the
Just to
total
give
scheme, of things, that is still 100% worth purchasing a Zahara fragrance for that price. I mean, I still feel that's underevaluated. I feel that's a great price for your fragrance.
But now that we're opening, now that we're kind of stretching out and going into other markets, the price structure has to accommodate a distributor and his infrastructure, and then the mom and pop perfumeries, and so you're going to see the prices rise. That's why I'm doing the large bottles made in France, going to stay in France, and the small bottles I'm going to produce here in the States, just to keep the price affordable in the United States for the time being, for the most part.
There you go. That all works out.
But in typical George Zaharoff fashion, because he's got to charge more because of these things, he's giving you more for your money over in the European market. Like these metal plates that were presented on the 3 of our fragrances. This is the introduction to the plate styles that's going to be on his fragrances in the European market. Like the rosé plate has all kinds of detailing. It's marvelous. You know what I mean? So because he's got to charge more, he's also, being George, he's like, well, if I got to charge more, I need to give more. So he's giving more, you know.
100%.
And so Smell Amazing, that's where the infrastructure comes into play, where you can go into a perfumery. Well, we're going to start in Italy in the fall, where you can go into your perfumery and smell Zaharoff. I don't have the infrastructure for. I think I was telling Ross this. I'm at the point where I don't think I could go any bigger with the infrastructure I have right now. I can't, so I'm just going to stay put and just try to prepare for next year. So, and I'm very grateful to the community. I'm grateful to everyone who has taken me into their homes, into their hearts, and on their dressers, on their everyday, as they're living their life. I think it's so incredible, so kick-ass,
Absolutely. Everything all around is great, from the consumer to you, George, to Ross, to everybody, everybody involved. It's amazing for everybody. You get to see the art, you get to see the hard work that goes into it, you get to smell it, you get to have it in your house. It's amazing.
And that's why even Mo said this. I try to be very transparent. I try to share knowledge. I've been doing this for a very long time. And I try to just be able to, because I really think this space is the future, and I think that channels like yourself,
Randy's grown pretty quickly too. Randy's going to continue to grow. He's only been here for like 7 months. How many subs are you at, Randy?
I just hit 2,500 yesterday. 2,500
in 7 months. That's a pretty good pace for this niche. That's a pretty good pace.
Yeah. Thanks, Smell Amazing, and Mo and Newton. Thank you, guys. Yes, I always love a good sea salt. My favorite is the pop chips. You give me a bag of those. So, yeah. Anyway.
Well, hey.
What's your favorite fragrance, Kevin? I'm looking up at my TV screen just in case you want to know. Like, I'm reading the comments. I'm able to see.
Who's Kevin?
Nice.
That's like Randy.
Randy. What is my favorite fragrance? Honestly, I think I just told Ross this, and it's surprising because it's going to be a designer. It's a Zahara the Most Wanted. That has always been, since it came out, my favorite, mostly because my wife is obsessed with it, and happy wife, happy life. But outside of that, I would have to say Parfums de Marly Ojon is my favorite fragrance.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So clearly you like sweet fragrances because both of those fragrances are sweet.
Yeah, I am a huge fan. Someone said, if you ever had the chance to make a fragrance, what would it be? I said it would be a spicy, fruity, sweet gourmand. That would be my style of fragrance. Fall and winter, maybe with some like plum, cinnamon, amberwood, something like that. They were asking me that earlier, and I was like, yeah, my type of fragrance. I've never been a huge fan of fresh fragrances. It's just not my style. But with that said, I am fall and winter, sweet, gourmand. That's my style.
I have this shit-eating grin because I love it. I love it. Because last year when we released, there was even a video tag going around. If you had the opportunity, what would you make? Yeah. And I just find it funny that when we release again, here comes the conversation again. Well, if you could make a fragrance, what would you make?
Right.
I love the inspiration that this is bringing to people because it inspires us to hear this from you guys. You know what I mean? Like I told you guys earlier, we listen to all of the feedback.
Right.
A lot of people write to me telling me, you know, are you going to do Zed Creators 3? I'd love to be a part of it. And I try to respond and say that this is a huge endeavor. It's not something that is easy to do. And Ross could tell you this. And so, but I think that it's good that people are dreaming and thinking, because just because you're not a Zed creator, I can't do it with you. There's ways of being able to think of a way for you guys to bring it to market on your own.
Exactly.
You guys could create your own fragrance and keep it small, have a beautiful little collection, and just slowly, you know, build your brand, you know. And so,
like Niles.
Yeah. Look at what Niles been able to do. Niles is incredible.
Right. Exactly.
Incredible what he's done. And so
he started off with a basic stock bottle and tube,
right,
and he continues to reinvest.
It's incredible. Really.
Hey, Ross and George, I would love, and I mean, I'm sad that I have to do this, but I have to put my daughter to bed.
No, dude,
thank you for
I really appreciate you guys both coming on. I hope that we get to hear more from you, both George and Ross. I appreciate all of the fragrances that you guys have created to date. They are all amazing. I can't wait to smell more from both of you, especially the one that you're sending me, Ross. Really excited about that. So, yeah, thank you guys both very much. Love you both, and you as well, chat.
Guys, Tony, everybody, many blessings, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. Every time I look at Fragrance Fight Night, I'm like...
He lives down the street from me.
Yeah, he lives by Allen. I was like, y'all need to do a video together.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. Good night, guys.
All right. See you guys.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for having us, Randy.
Hey, safe flight.
Have a good one, my man.
You too. Peace.